Hello guys, today we're going to learn about the unit circle. As you can see right here, this is the unit circle, and it looks like a lot put into one little circle, but it is very helpful to help us learn about the sine and cosine functions in the future for trig. The unit circle is actually created through a bunch of little triangles. So first of all, let's write down some details about the unit circle. So here's a blank unit circle so that you don't get overwhelmed. Here's the full unit circle, but we're going to talk about how to get those numbers in just a minute. But here's the blank one. And we need to write down some facts about this. For example, the first fact is going to be the unit circle, and I would write this down too, has a radius of 1 with a center at the origin. Okay, so this is always true for the unit circle. The unit circle has a radius of 1, so from the center to here, that's 1. From the center to here, that's 1. From there to there, that's 1. From there to there, that's 1. From there to there. So that actually helps us find some points on this unit circle. So if this is 1, this point right here is 1, 0, because you didn't go up or down on the y-axis. Again, this is the origin. This is 0, 0. We're looking at the coordinate plane on the x and the y-axis. So this is our x-axis and we have our y-axis. So this point up here, you didn't move any on the x, so this is 0, 1. Here, this is 1 as well, but you're going to the left, so this point is going to be -1, 0. And then this point down here, you went down 1, but didn't move on the x-axis, so that's 0, -1. Again, that's how you get the points on the unit circle. If I scroll back up here, as you can see, we got our +1, 0, 0, 1, because the radius is 1, -1, because you move to the left on the x-axis, and then down 1, so for -1y. Okay, so that's one characteristic. The unit circle has a radius of 1 with the center at the origin. The unit circle is read counterclockwise. So when we read the angles, because the letter T here represents our angles, we read it counterclockwise. So we start at the positive x-axis. We start right here. This degree is technically 0. The measure of that angle is 0 because we haven't started. And if we go counterclockwise, we read it in this direction. This is counterclockwise. So here, T is representing an angle. So we're finding different values at that angle. So let me give you some examples of the angles up here. Here, we start at degree 0, and this is angle 30, angle 45, angle 60. But we also have radians. Remember, we learned about radians. 30 degrees is the same as pi over 6 radians. 45 degrees is the same as pi over 4 radians, and so forth. So here we have all the angles in degrees, and we have all the angles in radians. So what's 240 degrees as a radian? 4 pi over 3. So the unit circle is read counterclockwise. You start on the positive x-axis, and I went ahead and wrote the next two sentences to kind of try to make them as clear as possible by writing them. To find the value of cosine at an angle, use the x value. And I'll explain what that means in just a minute, so make sure you write it down. To find the value of cosine at an angle, use the x value. And to find the value of sine at an angle, use the y value. So you're gonna want to write that down. So what do I mean by that? Our x values is represented by our x, and our y values is represented by sine. And I can explain that in just a minute. It's just going to be a little bit complicated to understand. So let's see what I'm talking about. So here, let's say I ask you, what is cosine of 30 degrees? The unit circle helps us be able to find cosine at 30 degrees without having to do the math with triangles. So if we look at this coordinate right here, here's our 30 degrees, and the coordinate is square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. Cosine is the x value. So what's the x value? The x value is the square root of 3 over 2. That's your answer right there. So let's go ahead and try another one. What if I asked you, what is sine of pi over 4? Notice that I give you a radian in this one. So we're going to go to the angle where pi over 4 right here. That's our angle. And we're going to look at the coordinate. We are looking at sine, and sine is the y value. So what's the y value there? It's the square root of 2 over 2. And that's how we write it for the unit circle. We don't simplify the square root of 3 over 2. So let's try one more. So let me erase this. And you're going to need the unit circle. I would write it down, copy it down, print it. If you have a printer, that'd be easier. But being familiar with the unit circle is helpful. So let's try another one. What if I told you, what is cosine of 90 degrees? So you go to the angle where it's 90 degrees right here in the middle. And then you're looking at cosine, which is the x value. So what's the x value? The x value is 0. Sine of 90 degrees would be the y value, which is 1. So that's how you use the unit circle to find the values of cosine and sine. One other neat thing I wanted to show you was the unit circle right here. I'm going to put the coordinates on the unit circle, and I'll put the angles. The radians on there. Nope. Let me see. Okay, there we go. So as you can see here, the unit circle is made by this triangle. You draw this triangle and you find the measures of the bottom and the height. So here, how do you make a unit circle? That's probably where students are like, what? You don't want to make a unit circle from scratch. It's easier to memorize it. But as you can see, the unit circle is created of multiple right triangles. There's a triangle, there's a triangle, there's a triangle, and there's another triangle. The unit circle is just a bunch of triangles put together, and you use those triangles to help you write these coordinates right here. So that's why it's easier than having to do right triangle trig. That's not it. Whoops. So that is what the unit circle is. I hope you guys semi understood what it is. It is confusing, but don't get overwhelmed. Just kind of try to be able to answer these type of questions right here. You want to be able to look at the unit circle and answer what these are. You want to know the properties of the unit circle. The unit circle has a radius of 1 with a center at the origin. You read the unit circle counterclockwise, and you want to know that cosine is the x value and sine is the y value. All right, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. We can always meet on Google Meet. Again, don't feel overwhelmed if you have no clue what was going on. Just watch the video again and do some practice problems. Have a good day.